Hello and welcome to another Retro Crazy Mini Byte. I do retro repairs and restorations. That's what I do. I'm primarily a collector. But the YouTube community and the general retro community is absolutely phenomenal. I'm privileged to say I'm able to work with some of the people that, you know, are far in excess of what I can do. And today I actually get a chance to see something before it goes on general release, so I feel quite privileged. As you can see, I've got my Dragon 32 in front of me. I've got the SVI CAS. I've restored the Dragon 32 and the SVI CAS I reviewed. I love this, I paid for it myself, and this is my go-to loading system now. And I'll put links in the description to both of those videos. But I'm privileged to say I've been allowed to see and test some beta software, a game that's currently in development for the Coco and Dragon 32. Guys, you're amazing out there. You are still producing titles, you know, for these machines decades and decades and decades since these machines were cutting edge. So without further ado, let's get everything set up. So I'm going to sit in the Tandy and Dragon mode in the SVI CAS. I'm going to Files. I've already pre-loaded this, if I can, oh, wrong button. Bob on the Dragon. So there we go. And I'm going to get that set up ready. And it's a machine code file, or a binary, so C load M, and that should just load the first one it finds. So let's load this up. And there we go. You can see it's now loaded. It says OK, and the whole purpose of this is to find out if this will run on actual hardware. So let's try. Now, I did have to check because unfortunately I'm not that familiar with the Dragon 32. However, I have been reliably told to run a binary file. It's not run, but it's exec for execute. So let's see what happens. There we go. Bob and the Alien Fireflies by 8-Bits in the Basement. Copyright 2024. Does it do more than this? Let's have a look at the story. So the story is running. Okay, I'm not going to go through the whole story. We're just doing this to make sure everything runs. Now, I will say while I'm doing this, I have been warned it's joystick only. And at this moment in time, I don't have the joystick for the Dragon. But we'll take this as far as we can. So story runs, instructions, and instructions are running. And how to play 1 and 2 player with points. And special thanks. Okay, we've got 1 and 2 player, but I know these are not going to work. And it does appear Bob has been hit. And oh, there's no yes, no option. Okay. Right, okay, without a joystick I can't go much further, so before I continue, let me switch all this off and let's look at something that I've just recently grabbed. So to create this adapter, I've had all of this delivered. We've got resistors and cables and connectors and all the stuff we need, with one exception, and that's an actual circuit board to put it all on. Now, there is a gentleman that goes by the name of Tebl, T-E-B-L, on GitHub, who found on Google that there is an adapter that had already been created, and what he did is create a circuit board around it. That's available on GitHub, and you can actually have them created by any of your normal PCB manufacturers. I've been using PCBWay for many years for my own projects, just stuff that's already created that I've built, but they offered to send me some boards. So here we go. I've got the main circuit board, but I also have the top cover with the Dragon logo, and I also have the TRS-80 one, because this is obviously for the Dragon 3264 or TRS-80 Coco series of machines. Please go check out PCBWay. The boards are absolutely amazing quality. They are so well made, they're very well finished. While part of this video is sponsored, everything else is not. I've bought all of these components myself. Right, let's clear all of this and let's look at building one. So I've finished soldering on the connector, looking good, and those astute enough to note this is not the same cable I started with. I started with this cable, which is considerably thinner, 6 core, but it's aluminium wire. Turns out alarm wire, which is the most common one you get, I hadn't thought to check, is aluminium, and trying to solder this onto these is an absolute nightmare. So I ditched that idea. It was just causing me too much of a headache, and I got some 6 core copper, and that solders like a dream. The advantage is it's a really tight fit, so the strain relief works really well. Right, let's finish off. So next I'll need to fit the IC in here. There we go. And technically that's it finished. However, let's make it a bit nicer. To do that, we have our choice of top cover. Obviously, I'm going to be going for Dragon. And I also bought some nylon standoffs, nuts and screws. So let's quickly put this together. And there we are. We have one very neat, hopefully functional, joystick adapter for the Dragon 32. So the standoffs act as the legs, which means none of the circuit board actually touches, it doesn't scrape, doesn't do anything. This gives it a bit of protection and makes it look very nice. So the question is, does it work? So before we put this anywhere near the computer, we're just going to do some basic tests. Now, this is quite nice because it does actually show front of plug. So let me zoom down so you can see everything, and we'll check some continuity. So you can clearly see it shows the front of the plug and where everything should be. What we should get is a nice solid beep. So let's have a look. So this is going to be awkward, but the chassis should be on 6. not connected to anything else. Now I'm going to cheat and I'm going to jam it between the chassis and where it should be, but it still should be connected to nothing else bar the chassis. So we'll just check the rest. And that's all fine. Let's bring in the Dragon and find out if this works. So here we are at testing. It's all built, it's all assembled, it's all plugged in, connected to a Competition Pro joystick, which is definitely a digital device. And we've got the Dragon on, and I've got my SVI CAS. Now, I did test beta version 1. I found a small issue. He's been developing this over months and months on emulator on the Coco, but it should also work in the Dragon 32. I found one issue which is specific to hardware. He's redone the keyboard routine, and this is version 2. So now I should be able to get everything set up, and this is a binary file, so I need to do cload M, and let's load this up. Now it's loaded, I can type exec to run the machine code. Bob and the Alien Fireflies. So you've got story, instructions, special thanks, and 1 or 2 player game, and you can see this has been created by 8bits in the basement. So we're going to have a look at a 1 player game, should be in the left port. So let's go, and it's running, and I can control Bob, who has got to avoid these I forgot the screen wraps up and down. So Bob has to avoid those beams and collect the fireflies, and I failed miserably. Oh, one right next to me, so let's try again. And unfortunately in this instance I took too long and the firefly exploded. However, it does confirm that this works. Superb. So a couple of big thanks again. Thank you to PCBWay for supplying the boards for this joystick adapter for both the Coco and Dragon 32. Much appreciated. And a big thanks to 8bits in the Basement for allowing me to actually see this beta version of the game he's been working on. Please, I'll put the links in the description for both the adapter if you want to get your own printed and made, and a link in the description direct to 8bit in the Basement's YouTube channel so that you can follow him and watch some of the stuff that he's been doing. So thank you for watching. Please remember, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next Retro Crazy or Retro Crazy Mini Byte.